Time to talk about your money here on Good Morning Quad Cities. And let's first take a look at how the stock market is doing. At the end of last week's trading, the S&P 500 was down 2.1%, NASDAQ down 2.6%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 2.2%. Well, John Deere has reported its latest quarterly financial results. In May through July third quarter, John Deere reported net income of nearly $3 billion, up 58% over the past year. Deere also reported its net sales over the past year rose 12% to $14.3 billion. But despite the positive financial news, John Deere's stock fell by more than 5% on Friday. So joining us now is our financial expert, Mark Grevicheski with the Quad Cities Investment Group. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Monday. Good to see you again. A little hot and humid outside.
Oh, very much so. Yes. So talking about the strong third quarter earnings with John Deere, but why did stocks fall by more than 5% on Friday?
Well, as you just mentioned, John Deere had a fantastic third quarter. It reported strong revenues, strong sales. Its net income increased by 58% over the last year. It also gave a very positive outlook for the rest of the year. Now, on Friday, I spoke to a number of former trading colleagues of mine on Wall Street, and they argue that Wall Street has started taking a much more pessimistic outlook for the rest of the year. There's recently been a number of big name companies that also reported very stellar financial results, but at the same time are also raising concerns on the future health of the economy. Big name companies, Devin, like Apple, Microsoft, Qualcomm, CVS Pharmacies, Target, Johnson & Johnson, and the list literally goes on and on. So with so many big name companies starting to raise these cautionary flags about the future outlook of the economy, is there really any sector of the economy or industry, including agriculture, that can avoid this potential fallout that may happen later on this year?
Okay, so let's talk the U.S. Census Bureau. So here I have reported that the retail sales rose by 0.3% in July and have risen by 3.2% over the past 12 months. So with concerns of a potential recession, I mean, why do you think that this market still remains so strong?
You're right. I mean, the economy is far from perfect. And then you add on high inflation, and then you add on rising interest rates. But one aspect of the economy that has remained quite resilient is the U.S. labor market. The national unemployment rate is currently at 3.5%. Currently about 9.5, 9.6 million unfilled job openings throughout the economy, throughout the country. And look, I think that's one aspect that's going to remain, quite strong throughout the rest of the year.
I mean, that goes to my next question. I mean, how much do you think that this, strength in the consumer spending will last as strong as it is?
Well, we are starting to see some initial cracks form in the labor market. The number of new jobs being added each month has been gradually declining over the past 6 or 7 months. Another area of concern, though, Devin, is how consumers have been funding their purchases over the last 1 to 2 years to help kind of carry the cost of these rising prices and rising inflation. Consumers have been forced to pull money from their savings account, pull money from their retirement accounts, but also, Devin, to take on a massive amount of debt. The level of household debt in this country is now at a record high. And within that household debt, Devin, is an all-time record high $1.03 trillion of credit card debt. The first time ever the level of credit card debt in this country has kind of breached that $1 trillion mark. And look, at what point do consumers simply become tapped out? They're like, look, I don't have any more money in my savings account to pull. I really shouldn't be pulling any more money from my retirement account, and I definitely can't afford to be taking on any more debt. So, at what point does consumer spending kind of collapse and potentially send the economy into a recession?
Yeah, this is something that's on the minds of all of us.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Mark, for coming in this morning. Try to stay cool as much as you can. I know. That's an understatement, right?
Great to see you again.
Absolutely. All right. Well, here's what's